Hello, my name is Roxy Angel Superstar, and I provide celestial wisdom via the sacred tarot. Let me tell you a little backstory before we launch into the main course of our tarot spread today. Before the new year dawned, I had been fueled internally by a post-surgical combustion. Every moment felt like it was such a gift that I had emerged anew, inspired, and reset to eternal youth setting. I had been so raw, sensitive, and vulnerable that I cried with tears of gratitude. I was so tender emotionally that I needed the softness of fleece blankets to shield me from this turbulent world. Back then, I slept easily. I was nurtured, and I also tended to myself exclusively and tenderly. Then came the time for me to return to my regular duties. I fortified my healing body with a day runner planner and a meticulous listing of tasks by appointment and on the calendar. I took on the responsibilities of my workspace as well as threw myself into my duties with my elderly housemate, my 99-year-old grandmother, with a fury. My shared duties with my family members was to provide sustenance and companionship to my grandmother. And it turned out to be a huge undertaking because I was relieving my mother of her weekly cooking duties. But flashback, I had been so psyched up after the surgery. As my energy returned to me, I just piled on more and more tasks upon myself. Until one day, I noticed I couldn't hear the clear voice of my newborn childlike self. I had become muffled under the weight of tasks that I had assigned to myself. Now, in my mind, I was a reactivated terminatrix, operating with the energy signature of that frenzied, multitask-driven lifestyle that I had prior to the surgery. Suddenly, I began to notice that my enchantment, my post-surgical enchantment with life, had next to dried up, and my newborn love affair with life and living was crumbled like an angrily wadded up piece of paper on which I had painstakingly jotted down my precious schedule. What became clear to me was that my world was run by my almighty calendar. And suddenly, life had turned into a game of how many tasks I could cram into it. But why? To prove that I was improved, that I was a brand new version of myself. The surgery, it had scared me. I had discovered that I had been carrying around cancer for 10 years. So, post-surgery, I was determined to live with purpose. Can anyone relate to what I'm saying? My symptoms of how lost I had gotten is a list of negative behaviors that revealed just how off-kilter I had become. And the most salient fact was that the colors had seemed to drain from my world. Who made it happen? Well, me. I know, the woman in the mirror. So, it became apparent that this was a job for the tarot. Especially since the last 2 weeks straight I had blown up and become argumentative, strident, and just a tad bit dictatorish. This was a stark difference from who I wanted to be and who I had connected with post-surgery, to that self that delighted in just the simple fact of being alive. Well, the bottom line, I was having existential crisis number million 15, so it was a good time to consult the tarot. So I approached the cards with the question, what on earth is going on with me? Have you ever felt that way? Why am I so lost? Oh, tarot, what can you reveal that I am having trouble seeing right now? Well, I pulled out my Chris Ann Muse Tarot deck. It's the fastest deck I could get my hands on. And the first card that was drawn was the Knight of Materials, and it was reversed. Now, the Knight of Materials, if we, show it in the same light as the Rider-Waite deck, it shows that I've been working hard towards my future. And that isn't in of itself wrong, but it was reversed, which shows that this effort was not balanced. I was having hard, sleepless nights with interspersed with manic bursts of activity, and a deep need had formed where I needed to simplify and focus on a smaller effort, a steadier progress, instead of the pedal to the metal hellfire one where that I had been on, the pace I had set. I needed to concentrate on tasks well done instead of speedily rendered for the best results. Well, the message of this card made me sit up a little straighter, because now the tarot was showing me the truth, and we were getting down to the nuts and bolts of things. The next card I pulled was the Nine of Voices. And it too was reversed, even though the Chris Ann Muse deck doesn't give reversed card meanings. But to me, because I know the Rider-Waite tarot, I knew that it meant to a lesser extent of what the upright meaning was. And the Nine of Voices card is modeled after the Nine of Swords. So this meant healing after a fierce mental and physical battle. I know that from the Chris Ann interpretation, her meaning is that fear, insomnia, and damage was occurring because of those circumstances I placed myself in. I'd somehow fallen into a nightmare where I imagined I was under attack. I was sensitive and overwrought and crying out from the depths of my soul for relief. Well done, tarot. So I wanted a little bit more clarification. Why was the joy leaving me? So the third card was the Three of Voices, which is modeled after the Three of Swords in the Rider-Waite deck. And it denotes breaking of a heart, despair over a loss, sleeplessness, and a lack of quiet stillness had separated me from my peace. The Three of Voices says that also the path that I may be on is not the correct one for me, because I'm still healing from the past. Ergo, the reason why I had the surgery and the past hurts. So I'm now aware, because of the tarot, that I needed to cease and desist piling on the pepper with my activities, so that I could heal and sit tight and let joy begin to well back into my life. These cards prompted me to decide to, then and there, to drop into the stillness and stop running away from the pain of the past, and to commit to learning the lessons. With an additional card pulled from the Muse deck, I asked for further clarification. How can I move past this state? And guess what came up? The Knight of Inspiration, which is a card that states in a nutshell, do the one thing that I've been avoiding because I felt I had to get everything right and perfect. Does that resonate with some of you? What I needed to do was to throw myself into the passion of inspiration, not the passion of just piling on more activities to avoid doing the passion. Spirit was giving me the signs all along with thunderbolts of inspiration. I would be, whenever I happened to catch my breath from all my work and activities. But I was so intent on proving that I was invincible because I was healed from the surgery that I wasn't listening. Now, I could have been satisfied with just those 4 Muse deck cards, but I felt moved to ask for final guidance from the deck known as the Ascended Masters Oracle deck by Doreen Virtue. And the card I pulled was Positive Change, Parvati, the Hindu goddess. And I asked this question: what does my higher self need me to accept now? This card came up to say no to extra tasks. Realize that there are no have-tos in this life. And it's high time that I shave off the activities on my plate and give myself extra time for myself. So as you see, when you delve into the tarot can reveal so many answers that you may have been dodging in your life. The moral of the story is freedom comes from being true to your core values or your core heartfelt needs. Meaning your heart, what's inside of your heart, is much more important than the doingness of things. The reason I have been so snappy and crabby was because I was been so uber focused on material things instead of the intangible, substantive things such as beauty, savoring of what or who is in front of me, the nurturing of the self and others, and the shoring up of the faith that everything will be all right. I didn't need to effort so hard to be loved. Remember, love is lighter than a feather and deeper than life-given breaths. We are never separate from the divine. It always gives to us. We just have to choose to accept it. This is why the tarot is so mighty in helping one to rediscover their true north and getting back on track of what will make us happy individually. I hope this process that I took helps someone out there who may be going through a similar circumstance. My name is Roxy Angel Superstar, and I am always ready to explore the tarot in real life terms. I believe these cards are a tool to help us focus when we've wandered off the path, just like I did this week. I can be reached at roxyangelsuperstar@gmail.com by email for private readings, or you may visit me at my website, roxyangelsuperstar.com. I want to thank you so much for tuning in, and have a wonderful, blessed moment in time. You deserve the best, and life wants to love you, so slow down so life can. Namaste.